Everybody, welcome to a dime-dropping NFL fantasy football video. This is our running back rankings 1 to 12. This is episode 1 for the running backs. Episode 2 is going to be running backs ranked number 13 to number 25 by me. And if you haven't watched already, go and watch the QBs 1 through 25 that both came out yesterday before this running back series, or the 2 videos on running backs came out today. So go watch that before we get into this if you haven't already, or watch it after this video. Also, if you like the video, join the Discord, subscribe to the channel, and follow the Instagram and Twitter, which is Dime Dropping NFL for their @ on Instagram and Twitter. But let's get into the video now. The number 1 running back is going to be Christian McCaffrey. I don't think there's any other choice here. I know a lot of people, or not even a lot, a small amount of people are saying Saquon, but I think that's either just for attention or just because they want to be different than everyone else. Other than that, though, I don't think there's a reason where you can't take McCaffrey 1. It's likely that he won't be the number 1 running back, but he is the safest and most probable running back to have a successful season in NFL fantasy football this season. But now let's get on to number 2, and this is where the list starts to get interesting. This is where maybe you guys can start fighting in the comments. But now the number 2 ranked running back on my list is going to be Saquon Barkley from the Giants. I know he had an injury-riddled season last year, but the season before that, he was elite, best running back in the league by most people's accounts. He came out of the gates as a rookie and was a beast that season. This year, I think he's going to step it back up, coming into the year healthy, unlike last year where he got hurt pretty early on, and that turned a lot of people off of him. Even in what's considered a down year, he was still the 10th ranked running back in only 13 games started, including the game he got injured in. So he'll be able to produce this year as long as he stays healthy, although with running backs, that's never a guarantee. 3rd ranked running back is Ezekiel Elliott of the Cowboys. Last year, he was 4th in touchdowns and 5th in rushing yards, or the other way around, one of those two. He was the 3rd ranked fantasy football running back. The team believes in him. They just gave him a 6-year contract extension, so you know they believe that he can get it done for years to come. I think it will be no different this year. Every single year of his career already, he's been dominating every year from a running back standpoint. Although he hasn't always put up the stats, you can see in the way he runs that he's getting yards and he's going to get touchdowns just because of his sheer power and speed on the outside. Especially with the new head coach, it might shake up a lot of people's opinions on him, but personally, I wouldn't move him down too low because I believe coaches are looking for talent, and Zeke has a lot of that. Now let's get on to our next running back. The 4th ranked running back on my list is Derrick Henry, the man who just signed a big extension for the Tennessee Titans. He got $50 million, 25.5 guaranteed in the first 2 years. I don't like that part of the contract. I think he should have gotten guaranteed money spread out so they have no incentive to cut him. But now, after 2 years, I think the Titans probably will just end up cutting him because the production he has right now is not going to be sustainable 3 years in the future, because that's just not how running backs work. But this year, they're going to feed him the ball just like they did last season and ride him into the playoffs as the leader of the Tennessee Titans, not Ryan Tannehill, not Marcus Mariota, who's on the Raiders, not any of them. It's going to be Derrick Henry leading the way. Now the 5th running back had a holdout scare, but it's going to be Dalvin Cook. He says, or reports have came out saying that he will be reporting to camp. We're going to hope he plays past week 1, obviously. If you're going to draft him, you need him playing more than 1 week of the season. If he doesn't, this is a wasted pick. This is why it's a big risk if you draft early. I wouldn't want to take this guy because in that spot you can get someone else that is maybe not as good. But I have him ranked 5th. That's assuming that he's going to play this year. If he doesn't play, obviously he's not the 5th best running back in any situation if he's only going to play 1 week or no weeks. He's also injury prone, so I think this is a very risky pick. I'd look to go elsewhere if you're drafting right this minute on this day. I think you got to take someone else here. My sixth running back, the person you might have to take instead of Dalvin Cook if he's going to hold out, is Alvin Kamara. Although he didn't have a lot of touchdowns last year, he was still productive, and I think he'll be productive again with Drew Brees and Sean Payton staying there. He also has the advantage that many teams won't have because there's not going to be live games in the preseason this year for players to be perfectly ready. So for the game timing to be down, the Saints are probably the best team, the number one team that's going to be able to keep the same timing going into this season instead of being off balance and off timing this year due to the lack of preseason workouts and off-season training camps that you're going to have live contact in, because that's the only way to get good timing down with your teammates like Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders. With Drew Brees and Sean Payton still there, they're going to be able to get that timing down faster than anyone else in the league. Now, the 7th-ranked running back from the Bengals, it's Joe Mixon. Obviously, the Bengals just had the number 1 pick and took Ohio native Joe Burrow, who had to transfer out of Ohio State, go to LSU, and had one of the best college seasons, if not the best college season of all time. I don't think this affects his draft stock much, but what does help is they got their first-round draft pick left tackle, who was injured last season. So they pretty much got an extra first-round pick along with Joe Burrow, who has a lot of potential, obviously, being the number 1 pick. They also got another top 10 lineman pick coming off of injury. As that line is hopefully trending upward from the bottom of the league, it can't get worse than it was last year. They were one of the worst O-lines in the league. I think his stats will at least be the same, maybe even better this year. The 8th-ranked running back is Nick Chubb of the Cleveland Browns. I think without Kareem Hunt there, he'd be a top 5 running back, but with Kareem Hunt threatening to eat into his workload, as he was one of the top running backs in the league before he decided he wanted to change his position to kicker and got cut by the Chiefs. He was still one of the top running backs in the league, and he showed that last year when he came back that he can still be productive in the NFL. I think after this year, Kareem Hunt will be a starter again, but for now, he's just going to be biting into Nick Chubb's workload. But with Kevin Stefanski there, we know the Browns are going to run the ball, and they're going to focus on gaining yards through the ground, not through the air with Odell and Jarvis Landry. They're going to focus with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the backfield and try to gain yards that way. So I think he's a safe pick, although his upside may be limited week to week due to Kareem Hunt. At number 9, this might be the biggest drop-off so far, the Raiders running back Josh Jacobs. At number 9, ranked for me, behind Nick Chubb. He had a really good rookie year. He would have even better stats, but he got banged up at the end of the year, and the Raiders wouldn't let him come back into the lineup for the last couple weeks of the season, and he was complaining about that. But this year, I think he takes another step forward as the Raiders improve their offense with a deep threat in Henry Ruggs, something they were lacking last year. Henry Ruggs and Darren Waller are going to be their top 2 threats, with Tyrell Williams there, who's still productive as a touchdown and just all-around wide receiver. He's going to get his yards. I think this will open up the field more for Josh Jacobs to gain even more yards and even more touchdowns as they get into the red zone more this year. The 10th running back is the Philadelphia Phillies young star, Miles Sanders. He had 800 yards rushing, which isn't too special last year, but where he's really going to make you your money and his own money when his contract time comes is in the receiving department. Last year, he added 500 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns to his total in Philly. With Carson Wentz not having a plethora of wide receivers to throw to there, he's going to get even more eyes on him out of the backfield by the quarterback in Philly. This will put him with a solid floor most weeks. Although he won't get the power touchdowns maybe every week, if the Eagles can find a way to sign a better power runner, he's going to be more of like a Christian McCaffrey type without the strong inside running to go along with it. Although he's average at that, he's going to be able to dominate on the outside and with the receiving game out of the running back spot for the Philadelphia Eagles. My 11th ranked running back, I'm going to be selecting Aaron Jones. He led the league in touchdowns last year with an astounding 19 rushing touchdowns. That's over 1 a game on average. This led him to be the 2nd highest scoring running back in fantasy football last year. I think there's going to be severe regression there, as the Packers have shown the want to go to a running back by committee approach, with the drafting of A.J. Dillon, a power back out of Boston College, who may steal some of those touchdowns from him as they try to lessen his workload and extend his career. Last year, he had the 11th most rushing yards, and this is where he ends up on this list. I think he's due for severe regression, which is going to drop him down a lot. I think he could have a wide range of outcomes this year, as he seems to be very touchdown dependent, but also very touchdown capable. Running backs are often overlooked for their ability to create touchdowns as a running back. I feel like that is slept on by the fantasy community, but this one is just too high to look past. He's definitely going to have some regression this year. Maybe not this big, but I think he's going to be around 11 with the new rising stars and his regression that needs to come just based off the brilliance of his year last year. Now the 12th ranked running back, last one of this ranking show, is going to be Leonard Fournette. Although last year he only had 3 touchdowns, and he's going to be due for some progression in that department, I think he's going to drop from running back 7 to running back 12 here, as the team has shown no commitment to him. Even looked at trading him this offseason, as he wants to trade and the Jaguars want to trade him, but no one wants him. I don't know how committed the Jags will be to running him this year, and I don't know how committed he will be to running with the Jags this year. The Jaguars' offense is not going to be reliable week to week, so I think he could go off and be a top 5 running back again this year. But I think you got to draft him with caution, although I would still be comfortable with him as my running back 1. Thanks for watching this episode of Running Back Rankings, everybody. Come back where the next one has either already been released or is about to premiere right now for you all. So go to the channel page, subscribe, and get to watching running backs 13 to 25, because as important the RB1s are, you're going to need RB2s and RB3s to score you points on the back end of your lineup. Join the Discord and follow Dime Dropping NFL on Twitter and Instagram, and go watch that next video coming out right now. Subscribe to the channel. See you next video. Let's win some championships this year, boys.